dwell on this story too much, but I do want to bring it to our attention as a teachable moment. And as a lesson as to why voting down ballot is important, extremely important, so you avoid getting cuckoo for Cocoa Puff people elected to positions that they're not qualified for. There's a woman currently the Republican nominee for North Carolina's public school superintendent. So think about that. Let's stop right there. She wants to be over the entire public school system in North Carolina as their superintendent. It's a political office. And this woman, Michele Morrow, is batshit crazy. She apparently has used her social media platform to call for the unaliving of two U.S. presidents, former President Barack Obama and our current President Joe Biden. Yeah. And she went into graphic detail as to how she wanted to, do those things, which I'm not going to repeat. I'm not even going to repeat it. It's that bad. But I say all that to say this. She was voted by the Republicans to be their nominee this fall on the ballot. Yeah. They want this woman to be in charge of the North Carolina public school, to be the superintendent. Yeah. Now, when she was asked about these tweets she made, she started running from the reporter. Yeah, she was blobbing on and on about, how this is how the media does and things like that. But the reporter was really good. He was like, wait a minute. Are you saying that you didn't post this? That this is not what you wrote on your social media account? And you notice how she just ducked and evaded that question. No, that's exactly what she posted and wrote. Now, we all know the North Carolina public school system is super, super diverse. Do you think that woman should be in charge of children, let alone a diverse segment of children in North Carolina? Because remember, she's going for public schools. See, it's not enough for these batshit crazy people to run private, religious schools. Now they want to come in and interfere with the public school education. You gotta watch that. You gotta watch that very closely. Because it's one thing for them to do their crazy shit and say that this is a Lutheran school. This is a Catholic school. And we can teach whatever we want. It's another thing for you to come in and bogart yourself and want to tell us in the public, the general public, your wacky principles you tell folks in your private schools. Yeah. So, I'm going to stress this a lot this year. We're going to have to defend our public school systems from these people. They're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. They don't deserve to be around any children. but definitely not the general public. They can go do their creationism and abstinence only shit with their all boys Catholic schools, okay? But don't try to come and fuck up the public school system. That's why it's the public school. Because it's about a public education. It's about the general public. It's about all of us who don't want to be, in those private school situations. Yeah. But they want to bring their private school bullshit over to the general public. That's a no-no in North Carolina. Whoever her opponent is, I don't care if it's Daffy Duck, you better vote for the opposition. Yeah, this woman is racist to the bone. You tell me the first black president of the United States you want to. And she didn't want to. Yeah, she's one of those oath keeper, proud boy types. Yeah. She's a white supremacist. Yeah. You can look at her. You can listen to what she had to say. I think she said she's originally from New York. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. It's a whole bunch of them though. Trust me, I know. We have a bunch of them out here. They're on the West Coast. It's a whole bunch of them. They all think the same. They all have a problem with people who are not like them having some modicum of power. And so, as long as they did their thing and didn't bother us, it was fine. But I've been saying this for a while. It's too much encroachment. And that's what's causing the division. They want to encroach on us. They want to ban books, not teach certain history that they did. People that they are descended from, what they did. They want to, twist and meander things. No. When it comes to the general public, they're provided a public education. You can't tell people who are queer that they can't read about queer people throughout history. No. In your private religious schools, you can do that. You can try to act as though queer people don't exist, never have existed. It's a new phenomenon. You can do that in your religious schools. You can do that bullshit. But you can't do that in the general public. The general public serves the general public. Period. And that's what's riling me up. That's why I'm getting really riled up with these people. And that's why we're butting heads. This encroachment that they want to do. And then they say, we're the ones that want to indoctrinate. No, you want to spread your religious bullshit to the general public. And you have your own schools. Anybody can create their own private school and teach whatever the hell they want to. So why would you want to come into the public school system and tell people you can't learn about people like yourself? And this is what they want to do. Do you see any of us running to their private schools telling them that, the earth is not only 4,000 or 40,000 years old? You see anybody disputing their whole, flat earther stuff? No, we don't come over there and bug them. They're the only people I know that encroach on us. We never encroach on them. Yeah, this is a fact. So you be aware. Be aware and stay vigilant. Because these folks will rest at nothing besides to take over the general public, the commons of the general public, and turn it into some twisted, demented version of their craze outlandish philosophies. That's what they want to do to the general public. Yeah. And I don't care if they want to do that, private school or private religious school. You can do whatever you want to. I'm not going to tell you what to do in a private school. But when it comes to the general public, we don't want to hear that bullshit. We don't want our books censored. We don't want any of that shit. Yeah. No, they're known for doing that. They're known for doing that. The whole book ban thing, that comes from them. They've been doing that. They've been doing that. At their private schools, they don't have those type of books at their schools. They don't learn anything about anybody that's not like them. So now they've brought that type of twisted mentality into the general public, and they say, you should learn about people like yourself in the general public, in public schools. Yeah, this is what they do in their private schools, but that's private. This is public. There's a difference between the public and the private. Big difference. Private is exclusive. You can do exclusive things for your exclusive community. Public means it's the general public. Everyone is allowed. Everyone's story should be shared. Just because you don't like queer people doesn't mean that there are not people in the general public that do. You don't get to dictate what the general public does. This is their problem. And this is where we're going to have serious problems with them. They talk about division. This is where the division is coming from. They're encroaching too much. And it's not just domestically. Foreign-wise, they're encroaching too. I know they try to pretend like they don't encroach on other people's territory, but that's not the story I get from other people. They tell me just like they're encroaching on you all domestically, they encroach on us internationally too. Always wanting to dictate to us what they want. I've told y'all, they're a bunch of control freaks. And people are tired of them being controlling. They're tired of it. We don't accept their definition and criteria of circumstances. They don't have to accept ours. And we can just agree to disagree. But no. They've got to go and try to ban books that they don't want. Because they say it might cause discomfort. Well, if it causes discomfort, don't have your child read it. Can't say the whole school shouldn't read a book because one or two children don't want to read it. I mean, it's just that simple. Yeah, the biggest problem with me is their encroachment. Yeah, that's been a problem. That's been a problem for decades now. Really, if I'm being honest. Christian nationalism and their encroachment into secular society. Because all of us are not Christian. All of us are not nationalists. And all of us are most certainly not Christian nationalists. I don't know why they keep wanting to encroach on us with their bullshit. Because that's how I feel about it. It's complete and utter bullshit. Not some of it, all of it. But they probably feel that way about some of our stuff, and that's fine. Just don't encroach on people's territory. And we'll try to all live happily ever after. It's when that encroachment starts that there's always conflict. I'm telling you. It's really all about the encroachment. And this woman is trying to encroach on you all's school system in North Carolina. And what I'm telling you is don't let her do it. Let that crazy lunatic run some Christian nationalist private school. Or homeschool her kids. Whatever. Yeah, did you read about the homeschooling group in Ohio that was teaching their children about Adolf Hitler and how great he was? This is what they'll try to put into the public school system if they're allowed to get in there. Absolutely. They'll be teaching your children about how great Adolf Hitler was. Yeah. It was a whole group of them, a private school homeschooling group in Ohio. Go read about that. So we know what these people are. We know what they'll do. Make sure you all stay vigilant and don't put that kind of stuff in charge of our public schools. Leave it to private and leave it to their Christian schools. We don't want it in ours. I think most of us can say, regardless of whether we enjoyed or didn't enjoy school, our public education, we're all the better for having a public education. That's for sure. I wouldn't have wanted to learn that stupid shit that they taught in Lutheran school. I wouldn't have wanted to learn that stupid shit they taught in Catholic school. I'm proud of my public education in public school. Proud of it. I'm proud that it was secular. And it wasn't some religious mumbo-jumbo garbage bullshit. And I wanted to keep it that way. Because there's a place for that, and there's a place for what we do. And I just don't want to pass the cross. I don't want them to infiltrate our shit and be teaching their shit when that's not for the general public. If you want to teach your children that, that's perfectly fine. But don't come trying to force that down our throats in the general public. Or else there's going to be conflict. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, public education is for the public, and private education is for people that want to be privately taught certain things. Regardless of the merits of what they're taught, it's a private education, so you can do what you want to. And I'm not knocking everybody that went to private school. There was a bunch of people that turned out well that went to private school or religious school. It just wasn't for me, and it's just not for the general public. There's a place for everything. I only get this passionate and riled up when they try to encroach on us and tell us that we should have to teach their stuff. No. No. Then we'll never learn, about anything besides what they want to teach us. Yeah. And that won't be accurate or factual at all. Well, look how long Oklahoma school students didn't know anything about Tulsa and the race massacre. For 100 years, nobody in Oklahoma, regardless of what education they got, knew anything about the Tulsa race massacre that happened in 1921. Now, how does such a huge monumental event occur in your state and nobody learns about it? I'll tell you, because they got in charge of the educational system and just didn't want to teach about it. They completely erased their crimes. That's why Bynum and his family are in charge in Oklahoma City, when his family was primarily responsible for the atrocities that occurred in Tulsa. Yeah. Go and look it up. The Bynum family was primarily responsible for a lot of the atrocities, along with a whole host of agencies and industries in the state of Oklahoma. Yeah. So, this is why it's important to keep our public schools protected and keep them public. Because with people like Michele Morrow, going to be learning everything about her indoctrination. And we won't be learning anything about, what kids should learn about in the public schools, which is the general public and what people in public have done, good, bad, or indifferent. Yeah. They like to erase certain people from the records. Yeah. Yeah. This is a fact. So, awareness is key. I'm sure there's somebody really great challenging her. A lot of people, they're not aware of how crazy these people are and what they believe. When they slip up and, they put it out there to the general public, that's when some people become more aware of it than others. But this is why voting down ballot is important. Somebody like this woman to be your superintendent over your students. She'll be telling your students all kinds of crazy shit. Many of them believed that Martin Luther King Jr. was a communist. They'll be saying all kinds of crazy shit. This is important. It's important that we get really highly qualified and good public officials to run our public schools. Be superintendents. Not people that, have a racial animus towards certain ethnic groups. Those kind of people don't work out too well for the general public.